Show, if you're just joining us, I tell you, it is on fire. Aaron Doobie insists 8 hours to go to the repeat election, and there still might not be an election. The Grand Mullah, well, he's the Grand Mullah. I was talking about the divisions in the country, Aaron, and I've seen the last 12 to 18 months, tensions high, hatred even higher. The hate meter is going through the roof. Do you agree, disagree? And what has caused it?
I do agree with you completely that there are serious divisions in this country. I don't know why my brother here doesn't seem to see them. He thinks that they're natural. But only about a week and a half or so ago, Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch released a report on the reaction to the post-election responses after the last the decision of September 1st. And the report suggests, and indeed the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights suggests, that there was a lot more lethal violence against opposition strongholds. There were more people killed from the NASA supporting areas than there were in the Jubilee supporting areas. Indeed, the report suggests that when there were protesters coming into town, if they were NASA, they were attacked lethally. If they were Jubilee, they were supported by government. Ethnic divisions are obvious. Class divisions are obvious, but they will be made equal if the violence is going to be widespread. So I don't know where my brother here is imagining that we are all equal.
Do you think there will be violence? In your opinion?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, that actually, if the election goes on, any election, whatever election goes on, so that we can have a government by law rather than a government by political legitimacy, we are going to see violence.
No, you see, I have not said we don't have division. We have division, but you see, this division are, for example, political division. He belongs to one party, I belong to another party. That's natural, you know.
What about negative ethnicity?
That is normal. That is even normal, you know, to have some negative ethnicity. You see, we don't have to deny the obvious, you know, that Kenyans are tribal, that Kenyans are this, that Kenyans belong to their tribes, comes first to you. But Kenya, you will not see, for example, a tribe taking land cruisers and fighting another tribe. No. There's a law that regulates us. Kenya is a peaceful country. Once in a while when we have election, and when the common man is incited by the politician who wants to achieve a political objective, that's when we have violence. But you know, I mean, we have never had a violence where, for example, the Meru community invades, you know, another community, or the Kikuyu community invades, or the Luo community invades. No. Kenyan nature is a peaceful country that's regulated by the law. What we have a problem with is politicians who think they are bigger than the law. They are above the law. They can decide one way or another, and that, for me, is problematic.
What about, okay, hold on. Yeah. Post-election, right? Once the president is declared, the opposition, like today, Raila Odinga saying, we will determine whether you go for this cell phone company or you boycott this cell phone company, you boycott this television network, you boycott buying this newspaper.
First, you know, it depends on what economic power you have, but that's for another issue. But you see, Raila is entitled to say that he will boycott, for example, Safaricom. He is entitled. Whether it becomes effective or not is another issue.
But people listen to this man religiously.
It's up to them. Let them listen to him. He takes, you see, he's a politician who takes certain responsibility. But if, for example, he says that my political program is that I want my supporters to boycott Coca-Cola, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Coca-Cola has to live with that. They must adapt a certain strategy to face. That on its own is not a problem. What I have a problem, for example, is when he says he will form a constituency assembly or he will form this. But those are too much bravado in my view. I mean, these are, in my view, my respectful view, is that these are just political sound bites.
Right.
Harren.
Can I stop my brother there and start to say this? One, I think it is wrong to craft the narrative in the political narrative in this country that we only have a division or a choice between Raila and another person, or call him Uhuru Kenyatta today or another one. I think there is a more subtle issue about justice and equity in this country, and who takes opportunity. The form of governance we have, where the winner takes all and the loser loses all. So that those who support Uhuru, for instance, if Uhuru were to lose and Ekuru Aukot were to take the presidency and decide all the things that he wants will go to his supporters, and that Uhuru's supporters will lose everything. The same thing will happen, or rather happens, where you have people who are not in support of whoever has won lose everything, and that the one that has won takes everything and rewards his supporters and cronies. That is the question that we should be asking ourselves, to say, what kind or what nature of governance should we have in this country, where even when you lose or I lose, we still feel equal in the country. But one moment, I'm going to say. We are talking about the issue of a choice that Raila has told us, or told people, buy this product, ignore the other product. That, for me, is a political tact and not the political strategy, and neither is it the political solution. We should get higher and beyond that to say, what is it that has brought this angst, this anger, this disdain, where as a country people are starting to feel like we are excluded.
Yeah, but why go after businesses?
Let me answer, my friend.
I am okay. Allow me 30 seconds to just conclude that exclusion by saying we actually thought as Kenyans we are going to solve that problem by having devolution, so that when we have devolved units, we have resources distributed to everyone, and that these resources therefore make all of us equal. But we must have left something, I think, because of the presidential system of governance we chose, unfortunately, where we think that if you take the presidency, you take the prize and run away with it.
Jeff, let me answer my good friend. And personally, I'm sick and tired of all these issues, because I thought we buried these things after 30 years. We had all these problems my land friend is talking about. We had all these problems, unequal distribution, political dominance, judiciary that's not free, lack of devolution, all this. And 20 years, we were writing a constitution. We are one of the few countries that took 20 years to write a constitution. When we wrote the constitution, we had, the Bomas draft, we had all this, we had a committee of experts. We resolve as a country that the problems we face from independence will be resolved in this manner, in this format, in this document. Kenyans said the first document was not good and they defeated in a referendum. The second one, there was a referendum, and everybody said that this is a good document. So this issue my learned friend is talking about has been discussed for 20 years, has been agreed, and a document called the Constitution, that this is the way it will regulate our affairs. The only problem we have now is that, and it's not an economic problem or a social problem this country has. This country has who will become president. And despite the fact that all our laws provide a certain formula on who become president, I was just telling him that I want to become president of Kenya. But I'm a little bit realistic, I know the numbers don't add up. I don't have the resources.
Why should you become president?
Wait, let me finish. Okay.
Do you really want to be?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a burning ambition I have, but I'm...
It will burn out soon.
So you see, because... And I don't want to... People think I'm very personal, but, Raila has been the common denominator in all the presidential elections we had. But because... Despite the fact that we have agreed in the Constitution that Article 138 will regulate how a president is elected, and unfortunately the result some people decide does not come out at the end of that process, we have this never-ending process of a presidential election dispute. So it's not about really either that there's no justice or that there's this problem. It's about it's about a coronation process that's not provided for in the Constitution.
No. I think friend here, I don't want to descend to the level of discussing individuals. It's Raila or Uhuru.
But it is individuals who are defined in this country.
No.
Yes, yes.
I think you are.
You may not be one of
you
them.
Are trivializing
no, it's not.
You are trivializing.
It's been realistic,
Let's boil
actually.
down to individuals.
I don't
Because
think-
parties are individuals.
No. There, Jeff, I would like you probably another day, because time is running out on us.
No, you'll be
Another
given
day-
time.
Another day, invite us to debate who is Uhuru the idea, who is Raila the idea.
Right.
So that we can discuss what they mean and represent.
Correct. That's a conversation for another day.
But
Raila and Uhuru,
As you
Raila and Uhuru
on
are
that
not
point.
ideas. No.
individuals.
They're individuals.
No, I think if you trivialize it, I will
They are not
trivialize yours.
ideas. They are not ideas. They're individuals.
If you trivialize that,
It's not a trivializing. It's a conceptual framework.
Jeff has promised to call us another day to discuss the idea,
Okay.
and I'm open. What I'm saying is this:
Yeah.
that the question of governance, if you look at the Constitution of Kenya, for instance, it has a superstructure saying this is the state which emanates from the people, sovereign will of the people, and this is how it's going to be governed, and their values and systems. The trouble with us is that those people we have entrusted to govern or to manage the state have not changed the software. They have used the colonial software to continue managing the state, which Kenyans had expectations that it would shift.
Okay, I get your point. Ahmed Aziz, let me ask you this. Will Kenya ever come out of this cocoon of ours of idolizing individuals who run for higher office? I mean, it's all about, you both admit, it's all about the presidency. Will we ever get out of that? It's nothing but the
Why
presidency.
the presidency is the question you should ask him. Why the presidency?
No. I mean, you see, the tragedy about this Kenya is that certain individuals have a hold over certain communities, and it's not, it's not something really out of the world. I mean, it happens in many places. But what I want people to appreciate is that even when you have a hold of your community, the common denominator that should regulate our affairs is the law. We have agreed that the law of this country is like this. The moment this law does not bring about the result you desire, you try to wreck the whole system. That's not fair.
But don't they say the
It is
law is
not
an
That's
ass?
not fair.
Don't they say the law is an ass?
Jeff,
That's not
I
fair.
think you are letting him go away with a lot too much. When he says you have a hold on your community, there is a presidency and you have a community interest, I would like to understand what is this community interest, and how is an individual able, okay, not the ability, but how is it that this community interest becomes a significant factor in mobilizing for political
But it does. Let's face it does.
No, it may be true, but I think we need to unpack it so that Kenyans can understand
How do we
that there
unpack
is
that?
some.
Why can't Kenyans vote for a man like this?
Especially when
Precisely. If you let me speak.
Speak.
The reason is that we have a system, a state system, that has patronized, where the state has patronized communities, the state itself, not individual, not warlords, whether Grand Mullah, Raila, Uhuru, or
These are warlords.
These are ethnic warlords, all of them. Not where
my friend's hypothesis is wrong from the start, So he can't lead to a rational conclusion. The hypothesis is wrong.
Yeah.
It's all right. You can have your own conclusion later on. When you have these warlords who depend on the state, because first we must remember that we have a colonial state, or a post-colonial state that has that is structured largely on the colonial state, how it was. That the colonial state depended on the manipulation of communities. And what you did was to get Koinange, you get Ahmed Nasir, you get Ndubi from disadvantaged communities, give them favors, call them handouts or bribes, and make them look big people in their communities, and then you use them to mobilize political opinion in their communities.
But let me ask you this.
First, let me finish. Let me just interject. My learned friend hypothesis is based on, I think, a book published in the 60s, and that has stuck on him. This idea of saying that the colonial state doesn't make sense in my view, because The problem is not about a colonial state or a political structure. The problem is more of a social, cultural problem where certain individuals have hold of their communities.
What is the basis of that?
Yes. It's
What is the basis?
It's a social phenomenon.
Yeah,
Yes.
social on account of what?
I have no hold over my community, so it must be social when you have hold over your community. So this narrative you are saying of, the colonial state and that paradigm you are using, it's very unpersuasive.
No. What is the basis of the social hold on this community if you are not privileged by the colonial system? Because
It's money.
It's
money.
It's anthropological.
It's money.
Yes. It's an anthropology.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gentlemen, since it's a live show, let's go to some tweets, okay? Some real tweet. Where are they, Monica? Should we go? Okay. What do we have first? Yeah, Nisha Talker. Andrew M., you say, it's my constitutional right by birth to exercise my democratic right through the ballot. So I guess he's voting. Kiange Ken, you say, no, why vote while my vote won't count? I'll not waste my time, never. Zach Gure, 3M, you say, at 5:59, I will be at my polling station regardless of political heat. My vote is my voice. Mogusu Kelvin, you say, I urge Kenyans not to vote, but instead remain at home. # boycott the elections, but no violence, he says. SMS, first one up. Pamela from Embakasi, you say, I'm ready to vote tomorrow. # twende tukavote. John, you say, no, I'm not voting. The referee is unsure. The judge is threatened. Country divided.
Not the time to vote.
And from Mombasa, you say, I will vote because it is my democratic right. Mike, you say, there has been no reforms of the IEBC. I will not vote. Facebook posts. Tasha Zubeida, you say, a big no. My ID is for withdrawing and depositing cash. Lincoln Mugendi, you say, tomorrow by 11 a.m. I will have voted with God's grace upon me. William Prince Levy, you say, no, I won't. Reason being, I don't think IEBC is ready for it to be sincere.
You see, one of the tragedies about this country and the way, why I disagree with my learned friend narrative is that look at the effort we have put in reforming IEBC right from the days of Kivitu. When we had an election and there was so much problem, we said Kivitu and all his commissioners should go. We amended the election law afresh, word for word. We incorporated all kind of legislations. We put Ahmed Isaac and his team. The election result didn't go as expected from certain quarters. They said the problem is the referee. We fired them. We changed it again, the laws afresh. A bipartisan committee headed by James Orango, Senior Counsel, and Karaitu Mrungi overhauled the law. We changed everything. And then we said, this is now the right law. IEBC is the right commissioners. Then Kenyans voted. The result again didn't come as was expected.
Yeah.
Oh, they said the law is not okay. IEBC is a problem. My friend, do we go through this circle until we get the right result?
Jeff, I mean, cannot permit
that's the absurdity. That's the absurdity we are facing. Now, when they say, for example, IEBC has not been reformed, we have reformed IEBC for 20 years.
Jeff, remember this. Only in the last presidential election petition, IEBC was told, we know, rather, the petitioner said, we suspect something wrong with the servers, the transmission and all that. Can you please open the servers? They said, oh, we don't, the servers are asleep, the operators are asleep in London or wherever in Europe, and we need at least 5 days to be able to audit. They granted the respondents, or they were granted, the petitioners, some very limited access. Since the determination of that petition, they never opened the servers to date. The question is, what is this opaqueness? The issue is not so much about managers, but it is the system. The only thing, and I keep saying this every time I have an opportunity to say it, the only thing that is secret about an election is the choice. When you are casting, marking the person you are voting for and casting your vote.
Yeah.
But the rest of the election must be transparent. Why is it that everything is translucent, opaque, and they are coming to say, let numbers count and not the system?
All right. Gentlemen, we're going to get some closing thoughts from you. Aaron, you go first. Camera over there. Regarding tomorrow, going forward. I know you're not going to vote.
I actually will not be going to vote. I am going to observe. The other thing is I will not be wearing the IBC observer tag for the very simple reason that the management of IEBC has told us that they do not trust that they are giving us a credible election. But whether or not you are voting tomorrow, you must remember that voting is not the event. The purpose of voting is to all of us together exercise the sovereign authority of us as Kenyans to select who we want, where we know that we have made a choice that we can all trust. And therefore, the IEBC or the election management body must be one that conducts an election that is both free, fair, and credible in terms of ensuring that it does not have the illegalities and irregularities that we saw that are condemned in the law, in the Constitution. So if you go to vote, vote peacefully. If you are abstaining from voting, abstain peacefully. But the questions of reforming the electoral reforms and the constitutional reforms regarding this question of elections must not disappear from our eyes. Okay. We must deal with it.
All right.
Which camera?
That one over there directly, number 2.
Yes. Viewers, tomorrow, God willing, inshallah, I will vote with my family. And I want all Kenyans to vote. I mean, this is a right that is so sacrosanct that we cannot let it go. And for those who are not voting, it's a choice you make. I have no problem with that. I respect the choice. It's a constitutional choice not to vote if you decide. But I want all Kenyans to be peaceful. I mean, tomorrow we will decide who will be our president for the next 5 years. There are a number of candidates. I'm not saying you should vote for X or Y. That's a choice you have. But you know, Kenya is bigger than anybody. I feel sad that many Kenyans will not vote tomorrow because that's the decision that has been imposed on them. And it's unfortunate because nobody should ever make that decision for you. That's a decision that's so personal, that's so precious, that's so treasured, that it's only you and only you that should make that decision. See you tomorrow in the ballot booth. Yes.
Gentlemen, I think shake hands.
Yes. And even Haron, I'm sure, I will persuade him. He will come and
we'll persuade him. Monica, so some parting words from Dr. Njoki. She's a psychiatrist, okay? She says transformation is gradual. Kenya is on the right track.
Absolutely.
Let's be patient for just a little bit. Let's just be patient.
Yes, it's a unilinear progression. I mean, it goes year after year, year after year. When we want 60,
the problem
we have
is
made a lot of progress.
We make a lot of progress,
yes.
And some people take us back.
Sure.
Regression is what we must resist.
But Haron, look at America, 241 years.
They are back almost like us before.
So there you go.
That is not an excuse for us to go back further.
This is true. But there's hope. Plenty of hope. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
And all the best tomorrow and going forward.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. You know, if it's Wednesday, it's those 3 letters on the keyboard that follow each other, JKL. Thanks so much for being a part of this show. Keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff, at Ahmed Nasirullah. Haron, do you have a Twitter account?
No. The nearest I come to social media is WhatsApp.
Which is not a bad start.
It's not a bad start.
Yes.
Okay, there's hope.
It's not a bad start.
I was there before. I know what I suffered.
Hashtag is JK Live. Tomorrow morning on Hot 96 with Jeff and Jalas on Hot 96. That segment we call A Story a Day. We have a special visitor tomorrow morning. Alan Makaka will be telling us his story tomorrow. In the meantime, thanks so much for being a part of this show, sponsored and powered by Telcom. Telcom, moving with you. Good luck tomorrow. Good luck, Kenya. God bless. Good night. And go vote.
I'm not sure I shared that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. As always.